that is showing here, and I need an access token. So I go to the user profile, authentication tokens. I'm going to create a token specifically for Axual Governance. I'm going to generate the token, and I will already copy it into my clipboard. Now to the juicy part of the demo. I'm going to log into Axual Governance, and I will onboard my Aiven cluster. Both Google and email login are supported at the moment. And I will use a demo Google account to do the onboarding, to simplify the onboarding. And the first thing I see is a wizard where I'm going to enter the organization name, click continue. Right, let's continue. So how do I do this onboarding? I need the project name and access token. So project name is streaming-platform. The access token should be still on my clipboard, so I can paste it here and verify to make sure that what I've entered is indeed correct. I can now continue. On the next screen, you're asked to select your Kafka service. In this case, I'm going to select that cluster. It will automatically detect that I'm also have a schema registry enabled for that cluster, and it will already show me the amount of topics, applications, or ACLs and schemas that are found in that service. So this looks good. Let's continue. Next step in the wizard is just to add some metadata to the cluster that I'm onboarding. In this case, first question is the purpose. It's a non-production cluster that I'm onboarding, and I can add a name to it, for instance, dev cluster. All right, on to the next screen. It shows more details on what exactly I'm going to onboard. The cluster is indeed the cluster that I want to onboard. I click onboard to really do the onboarding. Okay. So when I click finish, I am actually in the system. I can immediately see my topics. So these are the topics that are owned by the team that I am a member of. Same for my applications. When I go to the next screen, topic overview, you can see in a bit more detail how those topics and applications are interacting with each other. On the next screen, this is the topic overview. You could really, you could also call this a catalog. You can search through the catalog by simply adding, entering your search term. And you can also see who owns the particular topic. Next screen, applications. So for us, an application is anything that produces or consumes to a Kafka topic. Schemas. You can quickly browse through schemas that are imported. And these are like the most important pages to mention. So what you also saw when I visited the dashboard for the first time is this resource center. It should help you to finish essential steps. The first thing I'm going to do, I feel a bit lonely here, is to invite a colleague. So this wizard should guide me through the steps of inviting a colleague. Go to settings, users, invite user. So I'm going to invite my colleague, Charlie. Charlie is in a team that is all about transaction processing. They are responsible for, producing the transaction events on a topic. And my colleague Dana is responsible for anything that has to do with interaction with customers. So alerting, push notifications, customer interaction is the name of their team. So I've invited them both. But what I can already do is make sure that the topics that I imported are assigned to the correct teams. So I go to the topic, I edit it, alert settings, I assign to the customer interaction team, go back to topics, transaction alerts, I assign to the same team. And the last one, topic transactions, is owned by the team that is responsible for transaction processing. So if I now go to the dashboard, you can see that my topics, I don't really have a topic that I own anymore. I think in a normal onboarding scenario, you are organization admin, you initially own everything, but your job is to assign them to the correct owners. My applications, actually the same story. Alert processing is done by customer interaction team. I update the app, go back for alert manager, assign it to the same team, and transaction manager I assign to transaction processing team. So right now, when I go back to the dashboard, I see that I have successfully assigned them to the teams that are dealing with the topics or the applications. And that is an important governance aspect, making sure that the resources that are on the Kafka clusters are owned by the correct teams, because they can decide best on who is allowed to produce or consume to a topic. Jeroen mentioned in the presentation, there is a lot of value in scaling the organization around a Kafka cluster. And how we enable that is by allowing the people that log into the system or that are invited into the system to create their own applications and to create their own topics. So for the demo, I'm going to work on the use case where I want to scan the transactions, the bank transactions, for fraudulent activities. So I'm creating a new application. I call it a transaction monitor. I just copy the name for now. I just select the team that I am a member of. It's the admins team. This is just metadata. It's a Java application in this case. Visibility of the app I set to public. So transaction monitoring application I create, because ultimately this application is what I need to get secure access to the Kafka topic transactions that I'm interested in. From this interface, I can add authentication information. And this information, of course, is vital for the people, building the application, developing the application, and ultimately connecting to the Kafka cluster. You should really copy paste the information that you have right away, because it will not be visible after you close this module. Then you can only see the username of the app that is authorized. I'm not going to produce or consume in this demo. I can now safely close this module, and I can show you that there is a request button here that I need to click to request access to the transactions topic. So the transaction monitor needs access to the transaction topic. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to request approval. You can now see in this overview in the app that indeed the monitor is interacting with the topic, but there is an exclamation mark here because the app hasn't been granted access yet to consume from this topic. When I go to the dashboard, I can also see that request, and I can decide to cancel it. But someone in the transaction, in the team that owns the transaction topic, should either approve or deny access, after which my application gets access. And lastly, I can also show you that whenever I want to produce those fraudulent transactions on a topic, I can just create the topic myself. I call it fraudulent transactions. I am the owner, or the team I'm a part of is the owner. I'm just using Jason for now. Retention policy, delete. And what is also important to mention is that a topic needs proper configuration to end up on a Kafka cluster. I'm going to select 4 partitions here. I'm just going to leave the default properties, and I click save. So what I can also do now is that since I own this application, I can simply go to the transaction monitor. I can add another request to produce to that fraudulent transaction topic. I request approval. And I should be able to see the request here. Yeah, because I own this topic, I can approve this request already.
From now on, you can scale teams around Kafka and always stay in control. So go ahead and unleash the full potential of Kafka to your teams with Axual Governance. Start your free trial at axual.com.